Beware the beast man, for he is the devil's pawn. Alone among God's primates, he kills for sport, or lust, or greed.
In a movie landscape full of reboots and never-ending franchises, Planet of the Apes not only keeps going on, but actually gets better, winning in the eyes of the critics as well as at the box office. Rather than simply rehashing or remaking an older film with visual updates, the Apes franchise has repeatedly used the parable of apes ruling over humans to convey deep fears and challenges of the society of its times, creating new innovative stories supplemented by cutting-edge visuals. Since 1968, the 9 and counting Planet of the Apes movies, including the latest in the reboot War for the Planet of the Apes, have proven that the question, what if apes ruled over humankind, continues to capture our imaginations and meaningfully explore the nature of humanity.
I think that what has been so exciting about this story from the beginning is that really what we're looking at when we're looking at these apes is ourselves. And it's a way to hold a mirror up to human nature. And you know, the most human character in all of these films is Caesar, who of course is an ape, not human.
The various Apes films have presented analogies for nuclear war, radiation, racial tensions, global spread of disease, religious fundamentalism, animal rights, class, and military aggression.
I did not start this war. I fight only to protect apes.
Meanwhile, whichever film you're watching, all are cautionary tales warning us to be mindful of how far we push nature in our scientific advancement, and to be wary of our own worst selves. At the heart of each story is the metaphor of the ape within the human. We're witnessing the nightmare of our inner beast defeating the civilized humanistic soul.
Well, at least they haven't tried to bite us.
Blessed are the vegetarians.
Inspired by the 1963 novel by Pierre Boulle, the original 1968 film tells the story of George Taylor, who finds a strange world in which humans are mute savages and the superior race consists of highly intelligent apes. The premise builds on the nightmare of subjugation by a superior species, a shocking reality to imagine given humankind's long-standing dominance on Earth, and demands that we acknowledge our deep fear of inferiority. Big spoiler for the first film coming up here, Taylor finally realizes he's in fact on Earth thousands of years into the future, following a nuclear war that destroyed human civilization.
You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
Playing on the timely fear of nuclear activity created by the Cold War, Planet of the Apes so resonated with moviegoers that 4 sequels came out within the next 5 years. 1970's Beneath the Planet of the Apes explores a society of mutated humans who live underground and worship an ancient nuclear bomb. The 1950s through the 70s saw a slew of films pondering how society might be crippled by radiation and mutation as a result of nuclear warfare. Notably, the original Mad Max, popular monster films and franchises such as Godzilla, Gamera, and Them, and horror movies like The Hills Have Eyes, about a family of mutated cannibals hiding in the hills of an old nuclear testing airfield. So Apes tapped into this zeitgeist. It also captured the spirit of 60s youth and the distrust of the older generation.
Remember, never trust anybody over 30.
But what'll probably happen is that some money-mad grown-up will put him in a circus.
The film also depicts religious fundamentalism.
The gorillas and orangutans of our community believe that God created the ape in his own image.
On the deepest level, the films were an allegory for U.S. racial tensions surrounding the 1968 Civil Rights Act. The fire hose on Taylor is reminiscent of the Birmingham police brutality of 1963. In Escape from the Planet of the Apes, when 2 of the protagonist apes have an intelligent and promising child named Caesar, contemporary humanity expresses disgust with the child to cover up their anxiety towards a potentially equal being who threatens their superior status.
Well, why doesn't she take it? Because I loathe bananas.
Zira!
I don't believe it.
Yes,
Scenes in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes echo the imagery of race riots and violent protests, notably the ones in Watts, Newark, and Detroit. The vicious behavior by the humans embodies the fear of white Americans who resorted to violence and discrimination as they felt threatened by the prospect of race equality. Writer Rod Serling wanted to dramatize what it felt like to be the enslaved or disenfranchised race. The intention was to display a segmented society defined by racial and class inequalities, in which a key reversal disrupts the caste system, forcing audiences to challenge their own need to look down on other members of their own society. Even within Ape society, we see a hierarchy aligning with color. Lighter-skinned orangutans at the top, chimps in the middle, and black-skinned gorillas at the bottom.
You know how he looks down his nose at chimpanzees.
In the years since, some have seen the analogy of apes versus humans as heavy-handed. For some viewers, the imagery of aligning black people with apes, even as a metaphor for oppression, enters into troubling territory because it echoes long-standing racist stereotypes. The purposely ambiguous ending of the final original film, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, shows a statue of Caesar shedding a single tear before an integrated ape and human audience. While it may be a tear of joy for the end of segregation and racial oppression, it may also mark a tragic, deep divide that we can never escape from.
Respecting each other, living together with love.
Love. The human way is violence and death.
Following the original films, the franchise was never truly dead or gone for long. A TV series and an animated series attempted to fill the absence. Tim Burton's 2001 Planet of the Apes was a box office success, but it was dismissed by critics as a letdown and failed to gain traction. But starting in 2011 with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the true spirit of the original films was revived. Rise continues the original film's power of reversals by compelling the audience to sympathize with the apes rather than the humans. While Caesar and the other apes in animal control display protective kindness towards their companions, humankind continues to rear its ugly head. And while we like Rodman and appreciate his fondness for Caesar, we also see him playing God through medicine and falling victim to his hubris, symbolized by the attempt to prolong human life.
In biology, this is called neurogenesis. Here at Genesis, we call it the cure to Alzheimer's.
As he ends up creating an epidemic instead. Far surpassing the originals, the convincing visual technology helps us to sympathize with Caesar, and the CGI gives us that iconic image of an ape riding a horse for the first time. Yet the CGI is only compelling when the script and characterization have given us reason to believe in the ape's superior humanity over the actual humans we meet. In a short epilogue, a tense 1-minute scene shows Hunziker arriving at an airport when blood drips from his nose. This small, succinct moment tells us the answer to the puzzle of how humankind arrives at the subjugated position we know is their future. The downfall this time isn't nuclear war, but the spread of disease through a hyper-connected world. Yet both causes are the byproduct of human innovation, accompanied by negligence and short-sightedness. Again, we can't help but feel humankind did this to itself, thanks to its own stupidity. The new films also pay respect to the originals with a few fun Easter eggs, reinventing characters such as Caesar in a fresh new way. The large orangutan Maurice was inspired by the actor Maurice Evans, who played Dr. Zaius in the early films.
Don't look for it, Taylor. You may not like what you find.
The female child in War for the Planet of the Apes is named Nova, a tribute to Linda Harrison's iconic Savage Woman of 1968. Other characters such as Bright Eyes, Cornelia, and Cornelius are also tributes to characters made famous by the original. Dodge Landon, the ape's abusive caretaker, gets the honor of saying one of the most iconic lines in the Apes franchise.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
On a deeper level, the reboot cleverly imagines the classic series with modern enemies, like Alzheimer's, the pharmaceutical industry, animal cruelty, and commercial travel, as well as one very familiar enemy, people themselves.
Human gets sick, ape gets smart. Then human kill ape.
Due to the increase in human lifespan, in 2010, Alzheimer's became the 6th leading cause of death in the US. And we can't deny the predominance in our modern lives of pharmaceuticals, with their pursuit of profit and myriad potential side effects, while animal testing of non-human primates is a reality that troubles many. The increased frequency of commercial jet travel began in the late 80s, which was again reflected in the movies of that time, as well as the 90s hit Outbreak. Yet today, we seem even more anxious over the threat of global epidemics. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes deals with other modern issues like militarism and aggressive government regimes. It uses its realistic CGI to not only fully imagine a massive war between an army of apes and humans, but also to flesh out conflicting personalities and philosophies in characterizing individual apes.
Caesar. Weak.
Cobra. Weaker.
Whereas Rise gave us a simple reversal, in which the apes became humane and the humans inhuman, Dawn shows that revolution inevitably deteriorates into a sprawling, complex situation in which the original cause is threatened by brutality and militantly ruthless ideologies. Our own human political conflicts continue to prove the same, time and time again. The debates between the apes bring to mind the complex racial conflicts portrayed in the originals, but the divide here is more accurately between moderates and extremists. This accurately reflects a big challenge of our times, as our world conflicts and politics continue to push ever more toward extremism.
To be able to literally flip the world on its head and see human nature within another kind really does allow us to put our condition under a microscope in a very interesting way.
In War for the Planet of the Apes, Caesar and a small group of apes find a human child whom they keep safe from harm. Our heroes are the moderates who choose peace and empathy over division. In addressing major problems of our day through fiction, the modern films channel the power of the originals and remind us what great science fiction is for. Planet of the Apes has evolved to adapt to our changing society while continuing to make us question what it means to be human.
Have you finally come to save your apes?